Hi, everyone. Welcome to Liberatory Love. In today's video, I want to just invite you into an exploration of how you look at life and how it influences the level of love, the level of joy, the level of ease in your own experience of day-to-day living, as well as how much you want to actually feel good in your own life. For many of us, we've been taught that working hard is the thing that will produce fruit. And while this is, I'll let you question what you believe about that. Well, I do believe that it's valuable and important to put in effort in life. Effort is different than working hard. And oftentimes, our association with working hard is therefore that I need to be in pain. And so we're walking around all the time with this subconscious belief, subconscious meaning you're not actively thinking, I want pain, but you're subconsciously believing because it's been said to you so many times that the more pain I'm in, the better I must be doing, the more I must be achieving, the more accomplished I must be, the more reputable I will be to society, the more I'm benefiting myself even. And so when we get to a moment in life where pleasure or joy or peace is actually possible, welcome, or wanted, there's something in us that is so deeply uncomfortable. And I say this as someone who has been a part of this culture and raised in this culture and 100% experience this myself. I am not coming to you from a fully liberated place, but I am coming to you with about 18 months of getting to explore an alternative perspective to this, which is that we are in fact invited into an experience of life that is meant to be joyful and tasteful and alive. And that when we are in relationship to our highest self, to the version of ourselves that is calling us forth and forward, that when we are in connection to that source energy, there is actually great ease with it, which doesn't mean that there isn't pain along the way, that there isn't suffering along the way, but that at its core, there is a sense of peace there. So with that, I want to speak about two places where this has a pretty big impact and why I'm passionate about talking about these places together. The first place is religion, and the second place is sexuality. And both of these words alone have a charge, have an energy, have memories that might be associated with them for you. And in the way I'm going to explain it, I want you to consider that it might not be your problem with these things itself, but with much deeper ways of thinking in our culture and in our society. And that if we are working on those ways of thinking, our relationship to these two pillars in life would also change. And if we shifted our relationship to these pillars, our relationship to this underlying philosophy that's influencing everything else might change. So let me try to make it more tangible. First off, just take a deep breath and shake it out, since we're going to talk about something that usually many of us have very strong opinions about and deep-seated memories about and lived experiences about. So in the pillar of religion, let's take this philosophy of hard work is better. This will then manifest in, I need to study more, I need to pray more. And for people who say, well, I'm not religious and that doesn't impact me, I would love to invite you into a little bit of a deeper analysis there and consider what you worship, what you elevate, what you uplift, and the way in which you show up for those things. So that could be your business, that could be your participation in politics, that could be your participation in your job. It could be your role as a parent, but whatever your uplifting is, kind of this is what will create greater fulfillment. Are you looking at that from a state of my ease and rest into it will actually create my deepened experience here, or I have to work hard for it or it will not be here? And then in the space of sexuality, now we have this even harder conundrum. no pun intended, because we have now something that actually requires easefulness. While it does take perseverance in the journey to find a mate or a partner who you feel safe enough to be engaged with on intimate levels and marry if that's in your what you desire, there's a whole this is actually an act. This whole space of intimacy is the act of opening, is the act of freeing oneself, is the act of creating a space where greater freedom can be experienced together. And that requires ease and rest, and resting into and surrender and opening. And what we are doing when we approach that space is still often the exact same thing that we're doing when we're approaching every other part of life, which is that this is going to be hard. This is going to take work. This is going to not be that fun. This is also going to be something I need to measure up to. This is something that and then you add gender standards on there. And for men and women, that creates all kinds of thoughts in the mind that actually reduce the level of ease. And then you have these two forces that actually are constantly being told that they are at war with one another, that they actually don't mesh, that to be in pursuit of divinity is to be self-restricting and restraining, and that to be in pursuit of sexuality, it is to be loose and uncaring and almost like, just fulfilling your desires on a whim all the time. And what we miss then, because underlyingly we are so far from a philosophy and a way of life that is about easefulness and generative, naturally compounding love that exists on its own and does not need us to force it, is that now not only are we separate from what it means to be at rest and at peace with divinity. We are separate at what it means to be at rest and at peace in intimate relationship with ourselves, one of the most beautiful places to experience divinity. And we've even polarized the two things against one another because we're so damn upset that there's nowhere else to have ease. And we're going to criminalize and demonize the people who've actually found some level of peace, joy, or self-acceptance within this space. You will be cast out of the religious space. You'll be cast out of the sexuality space. You could say that sexuality is inclusive, but what is the sexuality space? It doesn't even exist right now. It doesn't exist as a hub. The LGBTQ plus community doesn't exist as a sexuality space. The sexuality space isn't a space because it's either you go to science and you learn about it, or you go to religion and you learn about it. And one turns it into a physical experience, and one turns it into a source of just another law of marriage. And now this entire space that actually is here to help connect you to your own internal divinity and put us as a culture and a world back into that state of ease is isolated. And by the way, the LGBTQ plus community is beautiful, and there is and I'm coming from a space of sacred sexuality, which is an emerging and growing space of people who want to look at the sacredness of sexuality and connecting to oneself. But I still can say the space of sexuality doesn't exist in that it is largely a place that we go through life as an individual, just thinking that this is just a space we're going to have to navigate on our own until we're suddenly with someone, and then we should all know what to do and how to relax and how to be at ease. And it's our fault and our problem when we are out of touch with that. And at Liberatory Love, I want to invite you into a container in a one-to-one space. In time, I would really will love to host group experiences, but right now there's so much in this space that I'm learning how to pull out of other people and create safety with other people, that the one-to-one is much safer. But at Liberatory Love, I'm inviting you into this one-on-one container where you get to explore this. You get to explore these underlying philosophies of our culture around pleasure, around ease, around joy, around surrender, around receiving, and also have the safety to look at religion and also religiosity, which shows up in every single space we're a part of, as well as your desires and goals and intimacy and relating and relationship, and then how sexuality was or was not addressed in your life. And what can happen if you get to just speak, just be allowed to be you, a whole being who is somebody who loves intimacy, who is somebody who wants to engage, who is somebody who wants to connect, who is somebody who wants to get to feel the energy of love and life that is calling you forth into every moment, and which our backwards world has gotten you disconnected from. And then when more of us are working on this, now the space of sexuality will get to emerge because we will be the creators and the founders of it. But it's going to take people who are going to step forward and even say, I want to either work in this space, I want to work on myself in this space. They are completely connected. And I want to see a different world than the world that we have right now. And working on all of these, both philosophies and practices of becoming an embodied element of joy and creation is not just about, it's not just about sexuality. That's why sexuality has been so isolated, because if we were to really find joy and delight and freedom and ecstasy in our own bodies, well, there would be a lot of things that couldn't be sold to us so damn easily. With love, don't hesitate to reach out.